All right, welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're doing something a little bit different, but honestly really special. We are exploring the cycle of life, but we're going to do it entirely through a sequence of beautiful images. We're going to follow a very special protagonist through the metaphorical seasons of existence to really uncover those major milestones that define a life well lived. I really want you to let this thought sit with you for a second. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But the beauty lies in who we meet along the way and what we leave behind. It's such a powerful reframing of that classic proverb, isn't it? Because, so often we focus entirely on that very first step, on the pure ambition of the journey itself. But as we actually transition through our own seasons of life, from that vivid spring of youth all the way to the quiet, reflective autumn of our later years, we realize something. We realize the journey isn't just about moving forward. It's about connection. It's about community, and ultimately, it's about legacy.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our journey begins right here. Just look at this golden retriever puppy, perfectly illuminated by the morning sun, completely surrounded by this incredibly vibrant, blooming forest. With all those bright purple, red, and blue wildflowers acting as the backdrop, this literally represents the spring of youth. It's the innocent beginning. Our little puppy is standing on a dirt path that stretches way out ahead, eyes wide, ears perked, just absorbing this massive, beautiful world for the very first time. Everything is new, everything is bright, and the possibilities, well, they feel pretty much endless. And this innocent beginning immediately connects to our own early childhood milestones. Think back to what it means to step out into the wider world for the very first time. Maybe it was your first day of school, or finally riding a bike without training wheels, or even just exploring the woods behind your childhood home. Every single journey starts exactly like this, with wide-eyed wonder, definitely a bit of vulnerability, and a completely open path right in front of us. We start out as blank slates, completely ready to be shaped by our environment and the encounters that are waiting for us.
So as we move slightly further down that path, our protagonist makes their first absolutely crucial connection. Look up there. An owl perches on the mossy branch above, watchful, steady. This majestic bird represents the archetypal mentor or teacher that we always meet early in life. Notice how the owl isn't blocking the path. Rather, it's watching over it, offering this sort of silent, steady supervision. We all have these figures in our early lives, right? A teacher, a grandparent, a coach. It's someone whose wisdom provides a literal canopy of safety as we try to figure out how to just put one foot in front of the other.
But hey, we don't just need mentors, we absolutely need peers. Now, a cheerful squirrel joins the owl, bringing a bright red apple, and let's be honest, probably a much-needed sense of playful clumsiness to the journey. The dynamic here has shifted to one of sharing and friendship. The squirrel brings a sense of resource sharing and just a lighter energy to the path. And this is exactly how we build our community. We learn to coexist, we learn to share the apples we find along the way, and we quickly realize that the path is infinitely more enjoyable when we aren't walking it completely alone.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these characters represent the fundamental roles we all experience. We have the guide, that wise owl offering silent supervision. Then we have the companion, the joyful squirrel, showing us the immense value of sharing resources and friendship. And right at the center of it all, we have the traveler, our young puppy, basically acting as a giant sponge, absorbing lessons from everything and everyone around it. We constantly gather these mentors and friends as we grow up. They literally become the emotional scaffolding that supports us as we gear up for the heavier challenges ahead.
Let's take a quick look at the journey so far. We started out in spring, representing early youth, taking those very first tentative steps alone on the dirt path. Then we moved into summer, which is a period of rich exploration where we gathered friends and essential mentors like our squirrel and our owl. But as we reach late summer, a shift begins to happen. The lessons have been learned, the support system is firmly in place, and the traveler starts preparing for real independence. Because, well, the next inevitable step requires actually leaving the absolute safety of that starting path and stepping out on our own.
And here is that beautiful, terrifying moment of transition. Our puppy is bravely crossing a wooden rope bridge over a flowing stream. The owl and the squirrel are watching from the branch on the other side. But notice this, they aren't carrying the puppy across. They are simply bearing witness. This marks the true transition from youth to independence. The traveler has to cross the rushing waters of life completely by themselves. It's a moment of immense bravery, leaving the comfort zone of that familiar bank to reach totally new, uncharted territory on the other side. So, we have watched the brilliant beginnings. We've seen the vibrant, energetic crossings. But time is a flowing stream. just like the one beneath that bridge. It literally never stops moving. So we really have to ask ourselves, what happens when the path finally becomes familiar? What happens to the landscape when the seasons inevitably turn and the traveler grows old?
The emotional turn here is it's incredibly powerful. That vibrant spring has subtly shifted. We now see an adult dog sitting by the exact same stream, with tears of nostalgia in its eyes. In the background, a sturdy, cozy cabin has been built with this warm light glowing from its windows. That represents a life established, a home created over many, many years. And fading into the background, waiting in the stream, is the almost ghostly memory of its younger self. It is such a quiet, moving reflection on the sheer weight of time and the beautiful kind of aching nostalgia of looking back at the journey.
And this brilliantly illustrates the true passage of time when you see these moments side by side. Over on the left, the puppy bravely steps forward onto the bridge, totally eager for the future. But on the right, the adult dog sits beside those exact same waters, looking back. The physical bridge is still there, the flowers still bloom, but the perspective has completely shifted. The traveler is no longer crossing the threshold. They have built a life on the other side. The contrast between the eager anticipation of youth and the tearful, joyful reflection of adulthood is captured so perfectly right here.
But look, this story isn't just about looking backward. It's about what comes next. And that brings us to the concept of legacy. It's defined as something transmitted by or received from an ancestor or predecessor, basically the lasting impact of a life lived. As our traveler enters the autumn of their life, the focus shifts outward again. All that wisdom gathered from the owl, all the companionship learned from the squirrel, all the bravery it took to cross that bridge, it all accumulates into something that absolutely must be passed on. Which brings us to, well, a brand new beginning. The proud adult dog sits in the golden sun of its autumn years in front of the cabin it built. But it is no longer alone. A brand new puppy is sitting right beside it, reaching out a paw playfully. This represents rebirth. The spring has officially returned to the forest, but this time around, our original traveler is no longer the student. They have become the guide. The torch is being passed.
And that is the beautiful inevitability of our own human experiences. The cycle begins again, sure, but it doesn't just repeat in a vacuum. It begins again richer, deeper, and way safer because of the memories, the lessons, and the homes we built along the way. That new puppy? It's going to cross its own bridges for sure, but it will do so with the loving guidance of the one who walked the path before it. Just as we are shaped by those who came before us, we eventually become the sturdy foundation for the next generation.
So as we wrap up this visual explainer today, I really want to leave you with a question to carry with you. Think about your own timeline for a second. Who is your owl? Who is your squirrel? Who guided you on your early path, back when everything was new and wide-eyed? And perhaps even more importantly, as you build your own cabin and look at the stream of your own life, who are you guiding right now? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next one.